about this now. The country is seeing a decline in COVID-19 cases, but the health minister says there's concern about the coastal provinces. That's Joe Pahla, of course, he was speaking earlier on this morning. But in the context of COVID-19, we also have to hold a local government election, right? So local government ward councillors, their 5-year terms will end in November this year, while the date to elect new councillors is set for the 27th of October. The IEC wants it to be delayed until at least February next year. It will be approaching the Constitutional Court to have the date deferred. Let's discuss what this means for local government and service delivery with Jaap de Visser from the Dullah Omar Institute. Jaap, thank you for joining me once again. So let's talk about the practicalities of the end of the term of office. It's specifically stipulated within the Constitution as well as the Municipal Structures Act and other pieces of legislation, I imagine, that have to do with local government. So is there any room for doubt what is supposed to happen when the term of office comes to an end?
Good morning to us, and thanks for having me. So there shouldn't be any reason for doubt at this point in time. And I think it's good to distinguish between where we are now and where we possibly may end up, depending on what the Constitutional Court will decide. So where we are now is that the term of office of local government has ended on the 3rd of August. And we are now in a 90-day period within which elections must be held, sort of a twilight zone. The law already says that municipal councillors stay in office until that election is held. That election has now been called by the minister for the 27th of October, so that is where we are now. However, the IEC has approached the Constitutional Court and asked for a postponement. In fact, they're asking for the elections to be held on the 23rd of February next year. And they're then also asking the court to extend that period, let's say the twilight zone, until such time, so that the councillors who are in office now, that they will remain in office until that time. And their main argument is, of course, around COVID-19, the impact of COVID-19 and the recommendations of the Moseneke report. And it really turns actually on the issue of voter registration, that we do not have enough eligible voters registered on the voters' roll, and the fact that we have not been able to hold a voter registration weekend like we normally do actually meant that we only have 65% of the voters that can vote, that are eligible to vote on the voters' roll. And that's one of their main arguments for asking the Constitutional Court to postpone the elections. But yeah, it will have serious consequences should the court decide to grant that order.
That's an interesting argument about the number of people that we have on the voters' roll, given the whole idea of universal franchise, that everyone who is eligible to vote should have that opportunity to elect those that they want in leadership. But talk to me about the distinction then between what you are calling the twilight zone, where we are now, with the term of office having expired on the 3rd of August, and now in that 90-day grace period within which an election can be held. What is the impact on decisions and resolutions of council that are taken within that twilight zone that you talk about, and decisions that may be taken should that twilight zone end without any directives from the Constitutional Court?
Well, the Constitutional Court has been asked, and the IEC pleaded with the Constitutional Court to say, please give us an answer before the end of August. And they're approaching the Constitutional Court on an urgent basis. And if the Constitutional Court is also, then we should have an answer before the end of August, either to say everything stays as it is and elections are held on the 27th of October, or the elections are on a later date. And then the court will then make sure that all the decisions remain intact and that the councillors remain in office and that legally everything is clear. However, that doesn't mean that there are no consequences, because, for example, if we do decide to postpone the elections, it does have consequences for budget cycles and strategic planning cycles. Municipalities are supposed to, at the beginning of a term, adopt a 5-year strategic plan. Together with the citizens, they're supposed to adopt this, and this is supposed to influence the budget of the municipality, which must be adopted before the 1st of July next year. Both are a bit in turmoil, and municipalities don't know what to do and what to plan for and when to start preparing that strategic plan. Will it be after October? Will it be after February next year? And how will it impact the budget next year? So there's a lot of complexities there that municipalities are looking at. And maybe more importantly, even municipal managers' contracts, they are fixed-term contracts, and most of them expire at the elections. It's designed that way. A municipal manager is supposed to serve the council for as long as is in office. And of course, we all expected the council to be in office until around about this time. So municipal managers' contracts are expiring all around the country, and they must all be renewed. Now, normally that could be, quite an easy thing to do, but we all know that these kinds of decisions can throw a municipality into instability and infighting and factionalism and difficulties and instability. So what our, let's say, weak system of local government can use is all this uncertainty over who is in charge of the administration. So that's one, I think, very practical, real consequence of a postponement.
Yeah, and it's not a one to take lightly at all. Jaap de Visser there from the Dullah Omar Institute. It's not one to take lightly at all, given the complexities of the person that heads up the administrative wing of a local government structure and the person who has political responsibility over a period of 5 years. You kind of want certainty in as far as the appointment of the administrative head is concerned, because it has a lot of consequences on its own. Jaap de Visser there, thank you for your time once again here on eNCA.